Hello and welcome to my creative space. Thank you so much for joining me on another DIY video. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe and join this creative squad. In today's video, I am back with some Halloween Dollar Tree DIY ideas. I love every single one of these. They exceeded my expectations. I know you're gonna love them too, so let's jump right in. For this project, I'm going to be using this sign I picked up from Dollar Tree. It comes with 4 little ghosts, and at the very top it says Boo. It's super adorable. Immediately had an idea for it, so here we go. I'm going to use this family sign as well. I picked up a while ago in a scrap of wood and some black and white chalk paint. Feel free to use any colors you like. The first thing I'm going to do is take the scrap of wood and my black chalk paint from Dollar Tree, and we're gonna give this piece a fresh coat of paint. Now you can do any color you like. I'm sticking to black because my living room decoration is actually ghost mixed with the color black, so this is why I want mine to be this color. But have fun, paint it purple, yellow, orange, any color you like. It will look amazing. Now after I finish doing that, we're gonna jump into the other side. And here it is. Now, as you can see, this one has 2 hearts and it does not go at all with the Halloween theme. So I take my saw and I remove them. My best friend gifted me this saw this past Christmas and it's become so handy for this project. Thank you so much, Gabby. I love it. Now, what I'm going to do is take some white chalk paint and I'm gonna paint the front of the letters. I will give it a couple of coats because this is black on the back, so I want to make sure everything's covered up. Then once I do that, on the edges I was not feeling like painting it, but I also didn't want to leave it as is, so what I end up doing is just distressing it with the white paint. Now I was feeling a little lazy, so that's the only reason why I did it, but feel free to do whatever your heart desires. And now it's time to use our adorable ghost. I start removing them from the string that they are attached to. It was super easy. They have tape on it. I really appreciate that. And I remove all 4. I'm only using 3 of them because I do have a family of 3, my daughter, my husband, and myself. So I picked the 3 that are going to represent us. My daughter's going to be the tiny little witch. She's so adorable. And then my husband's going to be the one holding the pumpkin, and I'm going to be the one holding the candy corn. But I wanted that to look like a girl, so I added a little bow that I just quickly did, and now it looks adorable. Now what I'm using to glue these down and make them stand is the wooden cubes from Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack. I believe it's like 10-15 little cubes. I can't remember how many they are, but it comes in a pack, and I take 3 of them. I'm gonna use 1 for each ghost. I use hot glue to glue these down, and it works just fine. You can definitely use some E6000, some other stronger glue to help them stay in there, but hot glue works. Now you can leave it as is. It looks super adorable, but I'm gonna go this step farther and add the family sign in front. I've done some projects similar to these in the past to represent my little family, but this time, and I usually put names on those, which is really cute, but I really wanted to stick to Dollar Tree products, so this is why I am doing the family sign right in the front. And then I decided to add some pearls to the side because I just felt like it looked kind of empty, so I added those and I absolutely love it. That is all for this project. I hope you love it. Let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using a wire wreath, some black mesh. I'm also going to use different tools, some silver sparkles, some white specks, and then of course the glowing in the dark that does not really glow a lot. I'm going to use this fabric that is going to go perfect with the colors we're using, some mesh tubing, some pipe cleaners, and of course the star of the show, the ghost. The first thing I'm going to do is take the mesh and we are going to start cutting it into the size we needed. So what I did, I just cut a piece off of it, did not measure it, don't know how much it measures, so it's about like 10 inches probably. And I'm going to check it on the wreath and I'm like, this size is perfect. So I take that one piece and then I start trimming the other 3 rolls of mesh. I do end up using all 3 of them. Once I am done cutting all of them, which I won't put you through it, here is what we got going on. So this is where the fun begins. I'm gonna take my wreath and the pipe cleaners. I cut those in half because they're really long and I don't have a lot of them, so I was trying to make them last as much as I could. So what I do is take the mesh, kind of pinch it in the middle, and then I take the pipe cleaner and then I attach it to the wreath. Now throughout this process, I learned that if you attach the pipe cleaners first and then you go in with the mesh, it's a lot more efficient. So I suggest that if you are doing this or recreating this, you do it that way because it's faster. Here it is what it looks like once I added all the pieces together. It's not as full, but don't worry, we got more things going on. I'm gonna add different tools. I'm gonna take the sparkly one and the white speck one, and I'm gonna trim them all the same size. And then I'm going to start with the white tool, and what I do here is some of them I add them on top of the black mesh that was already there. Some other ones I put them individually and attach them to the actual wreath. It is up to you. I was trying to fill in the spaces. Then I do the same thing with the silver. Some of them, they're placed on top of the mesh. Some other ones are being lonely over there. Well, not really lonely, but they're attached to the wreath. Then after I am done doing that, I'm going to move on to the fabric. Here it is. And what I do with this one, I only end up using 2 rolls of this because this one is a little bit more bulky, so it covers up a lot more space. What I did is cut one piece off and then kind of cinch it in the middle like I did at the beginning with that mesh to see how big I want these ones to be. What I love about this one is once you cinch it, it kind of looks like a bow and it's so adorable. So here we have it. I decide how big I wanted them and then I cut all of them. What I did with this ones is put the pipe cleaner and go ahead and cinch it all together, and then I attach those bows to the actual wreath. I was not recording that process. My phone kind of died on me, so I'm sorry, don't have the video, but that's exactly what I did. And then I start placing them on the wreath. Wherever the empty spaces are, that is exactly where I put them. You can even turn the wreath around so it's easier to tie, and there is that. Now moving on. Now I'm taking the pipe mesh and I cut 3 little strips of it. They're not all the same size. I think it's better if they're not. I take the pipe cleaner and tie them together, and then I attach those to the wreath as well, just all over the wreath wherever I feel like it or wherever I feel like it needs it, and that's where I put it. Then after I'm done attaching all of them, I started adding the glowing in the dark tool to any space that I thought was left behind and fill in those spaces. Now this part I decided last minute. I had this scrap of wood laying around and I was like, this wreath needs something to cover up the ghost because it's only like half of the top, or I guess the top and the bottom of the ghost. And I was like, what am I gonna do with that? So I looked at the picture on the where the ghost comes in, the packages that the ghost comes in, and I was like, oh well, that one has a sign, so I can recreate that one. So I take this piece of wood from Dollar Tree and I painted it. Initially I was gonna leave it as is, but then I was like, no, I think I need some colors. So I decided to go with black and white chalk paint and kind of distress it. And I try to do more black than white because the letters I'm going to be using, it's going to be white and I want them to pop. So that's what I do. I cover it up with the paint and then we're going to let it dry. Once it's dried, here is what it looks like. You can see that the wood kind of still peeks through. So I did that on purpose because I wanted that to like kind of blend in with the colors we got going on the wreath. Then I take this letters that I had. Now I was missing the letter B, so what I had to do is use the sticker as a stencil and then stamp some paint on it to do the B, and then the O's I do end up using the whole sticker on there. Then I seal it with some Mod Podge to make sure it's not gonna go anywhere because this wreath is gonna be outside and I need it to last. Anyways, the last part begins. We're gonna gather all our pieces and we are going to put them together. So, what I do first is grab my wreath and I start kind of seeing where I want everything to go. So, I place the boo sign down, and then once I know that that's the place, then I start placing the ghost. Now, this ghost is cut in half, so one half is gonna go up and the other one's gonna go down. I'm gonna go ahead and this ghost, I'm sorry, has these strings that you're supposed to use to attach it to wherever you're making it or using it for. So what I do is knot the ends and then I start wrapping them onto the pipe cleaners. I don't attach it to the wreath because I don't want this ghost to get like pulled down. So I attach it to the pipe cleaner so it can kind of be floating up. I hope that makes sense and I hope you can see what I'm doing. Then once it's secured, I take some hot glue and I glue the tops and the bottom to the back of the sign. Now I'm turning it around, you can see. Then I decided to add this wooden piece to it to help hold the sign in the front because it was floating. The wreath was too wide or too big and I needed something to hold it down. So I hot glued the other piece and then I glued the front sign to it, and that is it. I am in love with this wreath. I hope you love it as well. Let me show you the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using these fall decor pieces as well as some raffia. I'm also going to be using a candlestick, a pick, whatever you want. You'll see throughout the video what we do with them. Then some different size plates. I choose these ones. I am also going to be using a branch that I definitely made my husband get for me. And the crafting begins. I'm going to start with the candle holder. I show you two of them at the beginning, but I'm using a one and it's the shorter one. I'm gonna take some hot glue and the raffia and I'm going to hot glue it on there. Now I had the whole thing of raffia, but we're gonna trim it so it can be even with the bottom. Then I take this fall decorations. I don't know what they're called. I am so sorry. They look like little brooms, so that's what I'm gonna call them. I remove all the decorations and then the sticks, I cut them in half to be able to have enough to cover up. I only end up using two of them. Once I cut them, I started to try to glue them to the candle holder, but the candle holder is very skinny at the top, so it was a little bit challenging but not impossible. I did some of them and then I figured that tying them together was the best way to go. Once I tied them on there, I did glue some more on the top to make it a little bit more thicker, and then after I finish doing all of that, I trim the bottom because we do want this to stand. So I trim all the little sticks at the bottom, make it even, and now it's time to add the rest of the raffia. I could not find any more raffia at my local Dollar Tree, so I had very little, but I think that if it was a little more fluffy, it will look better. But we work with what we got. So what I did with the raffia is just tie it on there with some twine, and then after it was secure, I just wrapped a lot more on there and to make it look like a broom, and that was all for that. Then we go to the fun part, which is adding all the pieces together. And I'm gonna take the first plate, which is the biggest one. We are making a tray, a tier tray, or a broom tier tray. That's what we're gonna call it. And I'm gonna glue the first two pieces down, which is the bottom of the broom and the first biggest plate. Then I'm gonna take my branch and I'm gonna cut two pieces off of it. We want this to actually look like a broom, so this is where the stick comes into place, and I did not want this to be straight stick, so I picked the more curvy side. And then I cut two pieces and I'm gonna hot glue the first one on top of the silver plate. Then my camera is kind of too low, so I wasn't gonna be able to show you everything I do, so I'm showing you what I will be doing off camera, which is placing and gluing all the sticks and the plates, and I will be doing that off camera for you. I'm sorry. that is all for this project. It was so easy to do and so cheap to make, and I am so happy how all of these DIYs turned out. And let's show you the end result. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Creative Squad, if you stayed till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to comment down below your favorite DIY and subscribe to this channel for a lot more ideas. Thank you for watching. See you on my next DIY.